This is Detroit's Morning Answer with John Anthony on FM 92.7 and AM 1400. The Answer.
By saying we are forever grateful to Ari Mark and Phil Lott. The producers did an amazing job. We're very happy with the show and how much attention it's garnered around the world. I mean, I've said on many interviews, it has literally single-handedly revitalized her name around the world, making people understand, in my opinion, the failure of the FBI in our case to do their due diligence to investigate the case properly and thoroughly. There's a lot of ways to explain and describe what I mean. So let's just start with the very first eyewitness sighting, the morning Amy disappeared. So Lori and Crystal, I'll leave last names out, even though I think everybody kind of already knows that they were on the one of the upper decks and saw Amy in yellow riding up the glass elevator into the Viking Lounge, which is the dance club we were in earlier that morning. On the Netflix series, you'll hear the agent from the FBI say, unfortunately, we weren't able to corroborate their time frame, essentially in kind of a dismissive way. But we found and have, through even very recent conversations in the past week, my mom has spoken with the mother of one of the two girls who let them into their room just after 6 a.m.
That was the brother of Amy Lynn Bradley. It's been over 25 years since Amy Bradley vanished without a trace from a Royal Caribbean cruise ship off the coast of Curaçao. You know, that's one of the reasons why I am my kids, my daughters want to go on a cruise, and I'm very concerned about taking them on a cruise because I really do believe a lot of sex trafficking and human trafficking happens on a lot of these international waters. And you know, for decades, her family they refuse to give up hope. But reopening a case this old means navigating layers of jurisdiction, international law, digital forensics, and human behavior. Joining us today is a man who has built a career uncovering truth wherever it hides. From Los Angeles to London, from South America to Southeast Asia, his reach spans every border and every language barrier. He's known for his precision, global network, and relentless pursuit of facts. And I hope I get his name right because I know I butchered it last time. We're honored to welcome private investigator Nils Grevillius to discuss the Amy Bradley case, the nature of international investigations, and what it takes to chase the truth after the world has moved on. Is it Nils or Niles?
It's Nils.
Nils, I got it.
Mr. Anthony, and I'm very grateful to be on your show. Good morning, Detroit.
Good morning, my son. You know, you've investigated cases across every continent, right? When you look at this Amy Bradley disappearance, a case that began on international waters and remains unsolved after 27 years. What stands out to you most about how it was handled then versus how it will be handled today?
They had fewer resources in 1998 to go after cases like this, even though it wasn't that far back. The international nature of it points to jurisdictional issues, and I think Mr. Bradley was speaking specifically to that. When a ship is at sea, it's in international waters, so there's some jurisdictional issues. The FBI is supposed to handle the case. The way it looks to me is they approached this as a probable suicide more than anything else, John.
Okay.
And I'm going to say here that the FBI's approach may have been incorrect in concluding immediately that that's what it was. but I'm also going to say that that's how it appears to me.
So you're saying that you think that this was probably an apparent suicide. Was there something that led to that? Or did she leave behind any notes, or was she searching for things before she left?
I don't think that she left a note or anything like that, and I don't want to infuriate the Bradley family, but this is going to be a bit controversial. People are happy to see a hidden hand in things where the explanation is quite plain. Yes, there is a lot of human trafficking all over the world.
Yeah,
John, we could find American girls being trafficked in Los Angeles today if you and I work the streets together,
True.
man. So she's on an exotic vacation with her family. She was in a little bit of conflict with her father, I believe, over her recent revelation of her orientation.
Oh.
But apparently her parents loved her very much. She was on a family vacation. She was drinking till 3 o'clock in the morning with her brother in a disco or dance part of the cruise ship. It was a pretty big cruise ship. They went back. They slept on the lanai part of the cabin that their family was occupying on the ship, and the father looked out, I think, at 5:30 in the morning or 6 in the morning and could see that she was laying on a lounge there next to her brother.
Yeah.
And that's the last time she was seen. Now, there are some people who say, yes, they saw her in a yellow dress going up the elevator, that sort of. They don't know that was her. They think that was her.
Yeah.
There was an unscrupulous operator some years back who pretended to be a Green Beret, who had approached the family and took over $200,000 from them, claiming that he could rescue her from human trafficking.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was just fraud. And it's heartbreaking.
Mr. Grevillius,
Go ahead.
there was a witness that reported shouting "Senorita kidnap," and there was another lead which pointed to her some digital activity on Amy's missing persons website from a boat near Barbados. How do you approach a verifying a decades-old IP address trail and linking it to something that is actionable?
You can't. It's just too nebulous. It's like saying I saw a man with a .22 rifle in Dallas in 1978, 15 years after President Kennedy was assassinated.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, it doesn't work. And the person who allegedly said Senorita kidnapped, well, that was a recollection of a recollection that was shared 6 years later.
And it was someone who had really some broken English. And how can you? I mean, when you think about it, I mean, I've done investigations, and when you for somebody to remember something that happened 27 years ago now today, that'll be kind of hard too, right? As it leads to an investigation, if this investigation continues.
Yeah, I think that the Bradley family is incredibly vulnerable because of the sense of loss and the way that other people have poked them along with this and encouraged them to believe the worst and offered them false hope and tried to take advantage of them and did take advantage of them. This character who pretended to be an Army Green Beret.
Yeah.
The man belongs in prison for the rest of his life for an ugly fraud.
Now, could she have just? I mean, you said she was drinking to 3 a.m. Could she have just fallen overboard the ship too? Could that be a possibility?
Well, that's a possibility. I'm going to say that it's pretty difficult to fall overboard from a modern cruise ship.
Okay.
You have to make an effort to jump off of one.
That makes sense now.
There's railings. There's people on duty. That sort of thing. It's not as if it's under constant surveillance. The decks aren't under constant surveillance by the crew.
Yeah.
But if you make an effort to jump off of the ship, chances are pretty good somebody's going to see you.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean she didn't do it. Here's the other thing that militates us in the direction of suicide, John. She was a very strong swimmer, a very capable swimmer. if John and Nils grabbed a hold of Amy and tossed her from an upper deck into the ocean, she could swim for a while, couldn't she?
Yeah.
Particularly if she was in a yellow dress, right? You'd be able to see her, in the ocean, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Nobody saw that, And the way that a typical suicide from a ship like this is, they either jump from the stern, meaning the back end of the ship, into the wash of the propeller, where the ocean is churned up to go under quickly, or they'll jump with a heavy object and hang on to the heavy object to take themselves deep.
Nils, when it comes to the people that work on these ships, what's the background check like? Because there's some theories that sex trafficking might have had something to do with this. Could there be a network within? And I don't want to sound like I'm going down some rabbit hole of some conspiracy theory. But based on your global work, how realistic is that scenario in maritime disappearances?
Well, it exists within the realm of possibility, and there's a long tradition of women being turned out in port cities that goes back 1,000 years, John.
Yeah.
So it's one of the things that sea traffic has long involved with is prostitution in port cities, and young women being forced into prostitution or recruited to prostitution, that sort of thing. As far as the background checks of the crew, they do the most cursory one you could imagine. A lot of their crew are Filipinos often. The Philippine government will do a fingerprint check for criminal records, same like the United States government.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. It's not an in-depth check like you'd get for a top secret security clearance or something. But what we're looking at here is reasonably responsible crew. The people involved in trafficking other human beings for sexual exploitation, that's a lot of criminal psychopathy.
Yeah.
You really have to be in the criminal world. And why would I be involved in a normal 9-to-5 job or an exotic cruise ship job when I can just make my money working women on the street?
Yeah.
It doesn't fit.
Nils,
it's like, go ahead.
Because I'm always thinking about this because I have girls. What advice would you give to parents to make it easier to locate? Should they go off into foreign countries if they're on cruise ships? What's some of the things that parents can do to ensure that their kids can be located rather quickly?
They should have the app on their phone for finding the phone, number one. Number two, one should always discourage young people from engaging in drugs and alcohol. Yeah. Boys are stupid that way. Boys, you got to tell them if it's too good to be true, it's definitely not true.
Yeah.
That's how boys get into trouble in foreign countries.
Is there a case that still keeps you awake at night that you've investigated and there's been no finality to it?
Well, okay. There have been a few of them. In 2021, a friend of mine, a private detective in San Francisco, was murdered on the street in San Francisco. And he was involved in a lot of high-profile work. He worked for the Clintons during the 1992 campaign. He was beaten to death on the street in San Francisco in 2021. That's an unsolved case. There's a private investigator. Well, that was Jack Palladino. There's a private investigator named Paul Thornton who allegedly did a murder-suicide with his wife in 2021 in Arcadia, California, John. The only problem with that is if I shot myself to commit suicide, I wouldn't shoot myself multiple times.
Correct. It's kind of hard to do that.
So,
actually.
Yeah, it's, you got to be a real stalwart to take multiple shots by your own hand.
That's true. That is so true. Nils Grevillius, we got to leave it with that. Well, where can people follow you if people want to use you as a private investigator? How can they get in contact with you if they got a case that they would love for you to look into?
I'm on Twitter, or X, formerly Twitter, at Detective Nils on Twitter. in June of 2026, my book, my professional memoir, The Last Lawman, is coming out on Post Hill Press, John. And I'd be delighted to warm up your Detroit audience with that book, man. I'll tell you that.
Yes. Hey, guess what? We'll book it. We'll make sure that happens. And if anything else breaks as relates to missing persons, because I'm telling you, man, I actually had a case where we found the kid, but where I actually found a lot of the breadcrumbs he left. We were getting ready to leave, and something told me to go look somewhere, and I went to go look, and I found a lot of the breadcrumbs to where this kid actually was headed, and we were able to find him on a boat on the Fox River. He had stolen a boat and and got on the water, and he was on his way. He was a special needs kid, and man, it felt so good to find. So when you find a missing person, it is something. That feeling is like no other, right, Nils?
That is correct. You thought that it was going to turn into a body search, and you come up with somebody alive, and you can get them back to their family. There's nothing better than that, man.
Amen. Nils Grevillius, thanks so much for joining us on Detroit's Morning Answer.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony. Have a wonderful day, man, and stay safe.
Yes, sir. Detroit's Morning Answer. We'll be right back.